When I was younger, I had a lot of people telling me that I had a big mouth and that I did not know how to shut up. And I laugh about it now because back in that time, I wasn't laughing. I was crying. I was very hurt that people were telling me that I had a big mouth. I was very discouraged when I became very discouraged when people told me that I talked too much and that I needed to shut up. So the older I became, the more put back I became, and I began to, kind of have some self doubts, and I started to have those insecurities of feeling like, my big mouth was a curse. And when I actually got into realizing what my gifts and my talents are, I realized that my big mouth is actually a very big blessing. And that it helps so many people along the way. I have people that come to me for advice, wanting to understand my perspective on things. They want to hear what I have to say. Versus when I was younger, they didn't want to hear what I had to say because it just seemed like I was doing a whole lot of talking. And so it became an insecurity of mine that I didn't feel as though my gifts and my talents were good enough, that I was worthy enough to receive anything, or my gifts and my talents were worthy enough to be explored by myself or others, right? So I wanted to kind of just get into your insecurities and why you should not let those things stop you or pull you back. If I would have allowed that saying of you have a big mouth, they used to tell me all the time, you have two ears and one mouth. And I used to think to myself, what does that mean? Like, okay, but this mouth is still going to keep going. So I don't know what you mean by that. And when I got older, I realized how much of a depressed state I was in because of those things that were said to me at that time. And I felt myself kind of, pulling back when somebody asked me something because I just wasn't sure how to bring it to them. I didn't want to seem like I was overpowering them, or I was talking too much, or I seemed as though I knew too much, or I knew more than somebody else. I didn't want to seem as though I was in that same situation. And usually when people say that you have a big mouth, they usually classify you as somebody that thinks they know everything. And I wasn't trying to be put into that boat. But I was hurting myself in so many different ways, because if I knew then what I knew now, that the only way that you receive something is by asking, opening your mouth up to receive the blessings that you want. A closed mouth does not get fed. So back then I did not know that. Now I know that. I also know that my voice is used to be an advocate for others. Not only just myself, but to advocate for others. Had I listened to them and kept my mouth shut, I wouldn't be on this journey of advocating for others. I've advocated for myself. I've advocated for others. I advocate for people during pregnancy. I advocate for women for their rights. I advocate for the letter carriers for their rights. I advocate for myself, for my rights. We advocate with these big mouths. And if I would have listened to them and kept my mouth shut, I wouldn't be the advocate that I am today. So I'm very thankful that I kept my mouth open. I continued to listen to myself, even though it did pull me down a little bit, listening to them and hearing what they're saying, but I did not allow that to stop me. That's one thing that you have to realize. You're going to have people that's going to say negative things. They're going to talk about you. They're going to be ugly to you. And they may say some things to you that may bring up some insecurities within you that may hurt you in the long run. But if you understand right now that that is just a tactic to get you off guard, then you will no longer continue to allow those distractions to come into your mind and distract you, right? You'll continue with your journey. So I continue to advocate because I understand that this big mouth has a full force behind it, and it's going to do what needs to be done. A lot of people are not going to stand up and say what needs to be done. A lot of people are not going to voice their opinions. So guess what? I have to be the one to voice it. And if I have a big mouth and I'm not scared to say something, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm telling you guys. Those insecurities that you have that are making you feel like you cannot do something, use those as your strong points. Okay? Use those as your strong points, because they literally are your strong points. Okay? When everybody else around you is telling you that that's bad and that you can't do this and you can't do that and this is hurting you, you need to look within yourself and see what it is that you can do and what you can find within yourself that can help others and yourself. Okay, but don't listen to what other people have to say, because those can act as insecurities, and those can bundle up inside of you and make you feel like you can't do anything, right? So back to what I was saying, I'm just so grateful that I stuck on my path of using my voice. And sometimes when people discourage you, you do feel down. You don't feel like, this is your purpose, like this is your calling, and that you're not supposed to be doing this, because people are really, really gutting you. But you got to tell yourself that no matter what, I see something that you might not see. And I'm going to keep pushing past these insecurities that you say that I have. Because ultimately, it's not even you that have those main insecurities. When you look in the mirror, if you feel some type of way about yourself, then most times out of 10, it's because somebody else made you feel some way about yourself. Okay? If you look in the mirror and you see this ugly person, it's most times out of 10, it's because somebody else made you feel ugly. Okay? Because if you start a child on the knowledge of thinking, or on the understanding that they are a beautiful person, and that they are amazing, and that when they look in the mirror they see somebody that is absolutely beautiful, that child doesn't have any other way to think but to think that they are beautiful. Okay, until somebody else comes in and puts that inkling of a doubt within their mind and tells them that you're ugly and you're nothing. That's when that child starts to feel down, and they start to feel like they are nothing, and that they feel like they can't do this or they can't do that. Okay, so once you realize that it's really them just getting in your head and trying to make you feel some type of way, you'll stop allowing them to play on what the Most High has for you in your life. Okay, because that's all they're doing. They're just playing on it, because they know that you have a gift that only they wish they had. They only wish they had that gift, right? So I just wanted to say that, your insecurities, don't let them stop you. Don't let people get to you and make you feel like you can't do that. Those big ears and those big eyes and that big forehead and that big mouth that you have, it's all there for a reason. And you just need to figure out what it is. All right. But don't allow it to stop you. And don't feel insecure because somebody else told you something. Okay. Stand on what you believe. You need to uplift yourself first. Okay? Because once you uplift yourself, you leave no room for anybody else to come in and pour anything bad into you. All right? Thank y'all for listening. I'll talk with y'all later. Peace out.